Hi, everyone. Welcome to this masterclass. I wanted to use this opportunity to talk to you about 5 ways meditation can help you in your career. I know this is such an interesting topic because whenever we think of meditation, we think of it as a good habit or as something that yogis do or as something that coaches do or people on Instagram do. And maybe we do it too, but just don't know how to benefit from it in other areas of our lives. So, in this quick masterclass, I just want to give you those 5 amazing ways that you can start bringing meditation to your job specifically. Now, of course, you can do the same thing with other areas of your life too, because the concepts are the same. But the examples we'll take today are specific to your 9 to 5 job. And I want you to make notes of this because this can be truly transformational. Honestly, trust me. So, meditation, just to begin with, is to give you an introduction. Meditation is a very, very ancient technique. It is they trace it back to 1500 CE, like way, 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 way before modern civilization started and things of that nature. We have records of it, like they have found records of it in different cultures, including like the Greek mythologies, the Indian mythologies, and many, many places. So it's hard to tell where it originated, but if you look at Hindu mythology, we say that Shiva is the person who introduced meditation to the world, many, many years ago, 15,000 years ago, whatever. And so that's why Shiva is at the center of a lot of yogic meditations, because he was the ultimate meditator, right? If you see any of his pictures, he's always sitting in that posture. So those are the some ancient, tie-ups to meditation. But Bible talks about it, and Bible has said it in a different way than a lot of other religion and cultures. But everyone is talking about sitting in silence is pretty much what it is, right? So I don't have knowledge of the Quran, but I'm pretty sure there's something in there as well about being peaceful, sitting silently, all those things. My Muslim friends here, please educate me if you know more on this topic. And I would love to connect and talk more about the religious sides of this as well, the diverse religious sides of it. But meditation is basically a practice. So why am I calling it a practice? Like, don't even think of it as a habit, because it is a practice, which means every day you try to do better. And till the last day on this planet, you're just trying to do better. It is not a competition. It is not a skill. It's not one thing that you develop and suddenly you're really good at it. Yes, of course, with practice you can get good at anything, but don't confuse meditation with like you getting better all the time, right? Like, it's a practice, and life will happen and you might stop doing it and then you get back at it. But if you use the word practice, it has less stress on it and more intention, that I just need to show up for this practice every single day. I'm not trying to be the best meditator in the world. I'm just trying to incorporate this particular technique into my life and benefit from it. Because here's the second part of the whole thing: some people understand what meditation is, some people do it, some people even benefit from it, but they're not able to replicate it in those high stress situations. They're not able to benefit from it in other areas of their lives because they don't know how to reproduce it. They don't know how it can help. And that's what I want to answer today: how it can help you in your 9 to 5 job. So simply, meditation is very diverse. You can do many different types of meditations. You can do silence meditation, you can do breathing exercises, you can do chanting, guided nada yoga, which is musical meditation. You can do beads, like a lot of people do beads. It's all about like engaging your senses in the present moment, right? So that you choose the senses, you choose which sense you're going to use. When you're chanting, you're using your voice and your hearing. When you're breathing, you're using your breath and your how you feel. If you are using music, it's just the ears. If you're using a bead, then it's touch, right? The sense. So it's a sensory technique. It brings you into the present moment, and it's just about observing your thoughts and then acknowledging them and then coming back to the sense that you were engaged in. So let's say you have a lot of thoughts, which everybody has a lot of thoughts. Unless you're enlightened, you have a lot of thoughts and you're not going to get away from them. So don't try to do that. Create softness in your meditative practice and all we're trying to do is, no matter how many thoughts we have, we're able to sit with the thoughts, acknowledge them, and come back to the sense that we're engaging. So if we are doing a breathing meditation, thoughts are coming, you're looking at them, you're like, thought, thought, breath. And sometimes it's thought, breath. And sometimes it's thought. Oh, breath. You see, it can vary. So, how quickly you come back to your breath is totally dependent on the day that you're in, how you're feeling internally, how many thoughts you're having, how much presence you have, how much practice you have with this. So it can vary day to day. So don't get frustrated if one day you're really enjoying it and you're able to come back to your breath. Other days, nah, not so much. It's okay. For people who have focus issues and they're just getting started, prayer, chanting, beading, these are the best ways because they indulge your senses and very hard for you to then think about other things. Okay. But eventually you want to get to a place where you don't need these external things to help you be meditative, because that is how you're going to use it in other areas of your life. Because you can't play a chant at your work. Maybe in your headphones you can, but let's say you're in a situation. To use meditation, you will need to learn silent meditation. You will need to learn non-guided meditation. You will need to learn the skill of catching your thoughts, like the basic concept of meditation. You'll need to learn the basic of catching your thoughts and not getting overwhelmed by them or not getting carried away by them, but just like creating some space and then reacting to them from that spaciousness, not from desperation or like freaking out. Lots of people freak out when they have thoughts, and lots of people freak out in high pressure situations. That's not what meditation is about. If you're using meditative practices in your real life, when high pressure situations come, instead of you freaking out, you go the other way. You get super silent and you hold your thoughts and you're like, okay, hold on. I can't get flown away. I need to just come back to my breath. I need to slow down. So, a few examples I'm going to give you, 5 different examples I'm going to give you is, number one, if you're in a meeting, okay, and something is being said and you're like not happy about it, if you're not a meditative person, if you don't know how to do this, you are going to be controlled by other people, their reactions and what they're saying. But if you learn the art of meditation and you're able to like pinpoint, you're like, okay, this is a thought, and if I act on it, something bad will happen. You have a little space between you and your thoughts, and now from a peaceful place, you can either choose to contribute to the conversation or you can say, let me get back to you on that. So you don't give into the drama, you don't give into the excitement of the situation. Instead, you pull back, you relax instead of you stressing out. Honestly, this is the best way meditation can help you, is that you're getting stressed on little things at work. And sometimes they're big things, but honestly, you're choosing stress because you don't know any other way to react. But when you incorporate meditation into your daily routines and then into your life, you sort of integrate it. It becomes your way of life. Then you don't choose stress, you choose relaxation. You're like, look, this is a really high stress situation on the outside. I'm going to get really relaxed on the inside before I react. And that's wisdom. And that's one of the most powerful ways to live life, is to catch yourself before you get washed out by external situations. So at work, in meetings, you can hold yourself together. You can say things that you really want to say without losing context. You can avoid anger. The second thing is you can avoid anger. I remember a time in my career where somebody was really angry and they almost got violent. They pushed me out of their office. I had just recently started meditating at that point, and I didn't know that that's what I was doing. But that was really not like me to not react and jump in, right? I was a very angry person as a young adult. And so I don't know what happened in that moment, but I pulled myself back and I just went to my office. I packed my bags and I went home because I knew I need to de-escalate this situation. So number 2, meditation or awareness of what's happening on the outside will help you de-escalate things, and you will not be a part of the problem. So in that moment, if I reacted as without thinking and in a very immature or stressful way, which could have happened if I was just reactive person, which I was. If meditation wasn't a part of my life, I would have just literally, if they pushed me, I probably would have pushed them back without even thinking. And then they lost their job and I would have lost mine too. But because I pulled away from it, I left and I took the next day off. I relaxed. I'm like, I need to relax like twice as much before I do something stupid. And after those 24 hours had passed, I wrote an email to my HR explaining what had happened out of peacefulness, relaxation, and maturity, and not screaming or not doing exactly what they were doing. Right. And that went into my benefit that I ended up having a really good, 5-year career. Remember, I had an H1B, I couldn't be fired. So sometimes we have a lot of on the line, but if you can't control our reactions and you can't control your, how you act, then in countries like America, you can be in a lot of trouble. So number two, meditation can help you de-escalate high stress situations. All right. Number three, meditation can help you advocate for yourself fiercely, because you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to advocate for yourself. You just have to be the most collected and most thought through person in the room. And if you're meditative, I'm telling you, you are already going to have a skill that others don't have, and you can advocate for yourself very well. So that means if somebody's saying something and you're like, no, I want that job, but they're saying, no, you can't have it, you don't react, you don't freak out, you don't get upset. Instead, you're like, okay, that's your opinion, but I still want it. How can I get it? If you're not the right person to answer this question, could you connect me with somebody else who can? And then it doesn't become a fight. It doesn't become an argument. It doesn't become you versus me. It just becomes, I acknowledge what you're saying, exactly like we do in meditation. I acknowledge it. I see it. I don't agree with it, but I see you, and I'm not freaking out and I'm not arguing. I'm just stating the facts. I'm collected and composed. Have you seen leaders at your company, VPs, CEOs? They're the most collected people. I can assure you, they all either meditate or have some good habit behind them. But most of the CEOs today meditate. Okay, so meditation is beneficial like that. So number three, it'll help you with self advocacy. Number four, it'll help you with confidence, self confidence, because a lot of your self doubt is coming from a lot of your negative self talk that goes on in your head every day, and it just keeps deteriorating at your self confidence. But if you're meditative, you can choose which negative self talk or which self talk you want to engage with, and which one you want to just acknowledge and let it go. So your mind can say things like, oh, you suck, Prasha. And right now, because you're not meditative, you have no space between the thought and you think that's you, and you freak out and you're like, oh my God, I suck. And 6 months later, you're like less confident than you were before. But if you're meditative, or if you use the meditative practices in your life, mind's going to say you suck. You're going to say, okay. And you're going to move on. You're going to come back to your breath, or you're going to think of a better thought, or you're going to get like, okay, if that's what you think, let me finish my work here. So you don't dwell upon things, you don't ruminate, you don't get caught up in thought patterns that don't serve you anymore if you incorporate meditation in your life. Just the technique in general, right? That this is a thought I'm not going to indulge with. I'm actually going to let it go. I'm going to come back to my breath. And sometimes it can be hard to come back to your breath. Then play that guided meditation, play music, start chanting, or start beating, whatever it takes. That's why your dadis and nanis and grandmothers are probably beating a lot. In fact, in all cultures, Latin cultures, Catholic cultures, everywhere women beat. But beating is one of those ways to like not get too caught up in your thoughts and stay in the present moment. Okay, so that's number four. It'll improve your confidence because you won't indulge in the negative self-talk as much as you do. All right. And number five, it'll make you happy. Honestly, meditation is one of the most amazing ways to cultivate happiness because it helps us choose the right thoughts. Happiness is not something on the outside, happiness is on the inside. So if I can choose my thoughts mindfully, I can cultivate more happiness. I can't tell you how amazing this is. I would love for you to experience it yourself. If you're already meditating, go ahead and try these things and tell me in comments if they will work for you. Tell me in comments what questions you have. Meditation takes years of practice, and always practice. As I said, it doesn't matter 2 months or 2 years, we're all always practicing it. So just incorporate it. Some of the best resources I can share with you is Isha Kriya is one of my favorite ways to meditate, and I'm going to link it in the description. And you want to also look into daily meditations that are available. My coach Marjolaine does a meditation. I'm going to share the link here as well. And then there are just simple ways like music. So I'm going to share my Nadi Yoga playlist with you as well, so you can listen to that. So I'm going to share a bunch of resources. Last week in the academy, we actually had a full blown hands on meditation session, and all the girls meditated together, and it was incredible. Like, it was so good, and people benefited so much from it because they finally understood. See, all these meditations work, but you don't have support, you don't have somebody sitting with you helping you through it, so it can sometimes get hard. And that's why I would invite you to book an epic clarity call with me, so I can teach you meditation and I can help you integrate it in all areas of your life, no matter what goals you have. This is a life changing habit. There's only one spot left for July, and I would love for you to grab it. So book the call and let's have a chat, and let's find out if I can help you believe in your brilliance using meditation as one of the tools.